Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for Strike the Blood episode 23. Alright, and this episode, I'll just start off with a little bit of well, not a little bit, but I'll start off with a summary, and then I'll just add in some other, some thoughts at the end. This episode started off with a dream. Himeragi was having a dream about leaving Kojo, and like, what would happen if she left the island. So, she she ends up thinking about, what it would be like if she did in fact leave the island. What would she want to? What would Kojo think about that? So she asks him on the train on the way to school. She asks, like, what would you do if I went away? Like, would you like it or not? Like, what? Like, she just asked him about it. He said, well, he thought of it as more of a temporary leave than a permanent one. Like, he mentioned the training camp that they went on and saying, it'd be good for them to, like, get some rest and, like, relax and stuff. But she took it the wrong way, which it should have been obvious what he was talking about, but it should have been obvious what she was talking about too. So whatever. But yeah, he ends up taking it the wrong way and saying that. And when they have gym class, Nagisa and Himeragi and Ken in their class, when they have gym, Himeragi's thinking about what it is Kojo said. And there's this funny scene where Nagisa, she's running, they're doing like a pole vault, except not with a pole, they just have to jump over the pole. Yeah, they just have to jump over. Um, and I forgot what, like, the actual name of it's called, but they're doing that. And Naki's like the first one up, and she's running. She's like, she's determined to get this, and you're thinking, oh, she's actually going to do pretty well. And then she jumps up and, like, hits the bar. Like, the bar hits her right in the head. She just falls down. It was an epic failure. It was hilarious, but yeah, like I said, while all this is going on, Imaragi's thinking about what Coach just said. She ends up doing it pretty well, perfectly actually. And the teacher who we met on the train of, like, a while back, she talks to Himeragi after this about handing out those future questionnaires that Japanese students always have to fill out. Um, this they do. I can't count the number of anime I've seen these questionnaires in, but she gives them to Himeragi to have her hand them out to the people in her class because she forgot to do it, and she asks Himeragi, like, you should think about your future too. I know you're in the Lion King organization and everything, but if you want something for your future, Natsuki Senpai and I will help you out with that. So she's thinking about that. She's changing back into her school clothes, into her uniform. But that's when some girl teleports in out of nowhere with freaking lightning spreading around everywhere and stuff. And she actually attacks Himeragi. All right. And at first, I was thinking this girl was like a future version of Himeragi because from what we could see from her hair and her face, it looked like Himeragi. And I was thinking of other characters with black hair, and I guess the scene was going. I was thinking, maybe it's Nagisa. Maybe it's Nagisa and that girl or that person, or that thing that's controlling Nagisa, or has some type of influence on her. And then the next day, when Kojo and Yaze saw he was actually kind of funny. She ran right into the door because she thought it was automatic. She said it's not automatic yet, which means, like, it's definitely, she's from the future. But she calls Kojo-kun. Now at that point I'm thinking, yo, she's definitely freaking Nagisa. Nagisa's the only one that calls him that. So, oh, not the only one, but she's the one. She's the person who calls him that. So that, I was really thinking this is like future Nagisa or something like that, like something. And she started talking about, oh no, not future Nagisa. I thought it was like Nagisa in general. But then that's when she mentioned the whole it's not automatic yet thing. And then she was talking about Yaze and how he's thinner and how he has more hair, which is like, you know what he's like in the future. This is definitely some time travel stuff. So then I went back to thinking maybe it is future Himeragi after all. All right. And the longer this episode goes on, the more clear it becomes this girl is from the future because Kojo was checking her temperature and she was saying, oh, you're just touching me like so easily like that, like it's no big deal, like you're actually worried about me like that. Your relationship with me. It's not what I heard it was. You're the two of us are closer than I realized. So it's like it's clear she's from the future and she's pretending to be Himeragi even though she's not. Um, and then Natsuki actually shows up. All right, and she she pretty much figures it out. Like she figures out that it's not really it's not really Himeragi. She hits her with her fan because she goes up. Himeragi went up to her saying that, oh, you haven't grown at all, Natsuki-chan. So then she hit her with the fan because that's what she does when someone calls her Natsuki-chan. All right, and then like there was like some type of like magic thing, like that thing that happens in Strike the Blood all the time when you sense magic or something, And then she was able to figure out from that it wasn't the real Himeragi. Then she just grabbed Himeragi's boobs and like, well, all right, I guess. If that's how you want to figure it out. I mean, it's true, her boobs are bigger than Himeragi's, which is what Kojo says at the later on in the episode, which was funny. It was funny. Himeragi said, "Yeah, I have a feeling you just said something really rude about me, but I'll let that go until later." And that was funny. But yeah, it actually what Kojo said here was funny too. He says Natsuki, you shouldn't do something like that in public. I'm like, wait, so it's okay if it's not in public? Like, it's okay if there's no one else around? I think your logic is a little flawed here, Kojo. But yeah, she ends up figuring out that it's not the real Himeragi. Then Nagisa actually does show up, and she refers to Nagisa as aunt. All right, and when she says that, I'm thinking like, Aunt Nagisa, Nagisa Obacha, yo, this girl might be Himeragi and Kojo's daughter. Like, I'm like, yo, this girl don't know. There's no way. There's no way. It can't be. But then what happened later is that Asaki shows up and she started like fangirling over how hot Asagi is. And she started getting these vampiric urges. I'm like, yo, she is. She's definitely their daughter. She has to be. What else could she be? She's definitely her daughter. She's obsessing over the relationship Himeragi and Kojo have. She's calling Nagisa aunt. And she's a vampire. We learn later on that she has immortality as well. She inherited immortality. This chick, she has to be the daughter of Himeragi and Kojo. Right? Like what? I mean, I saw someone on Crunchyroll say that maybe she's a clone, but I don't see it. I really don't see it. I don't. I don't see it. I really don't. I legitimately think that this is their daughter. Right? And then she runs off. Kojo goes after her, and she says, he tells her he knows. Jesus Christ, my pronouns today. Kojo tells her that he knows she's not really Himeragi, and she says, well, technically I am a Himeragi. It's my maiden name. So like, yeah, she has to be their daughter. She has to be. I mean, yeah, she's their daughter, right? She's their daughter, all right? Kojo was asking a question. She was about to say more too, but then the real Himeragi showed up, and that's when Kojo compared the chest. He's like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. You're definitely the real Himeragi. You just said something really rude to me. I'm pretty sure, and that was funny. But Himeragi, she sees the fake Himeragi, and I'm just gonna call her Niseragi. I'm just gonna call her Niseragi. I don't feel like calling her fake Himeragi. Or like daughter Himeragi or something like that. Like I'm just gonna call her Niseragi because Nisei is fake in Japanese. Nisekoi, Nisei Monogatari. It's fake. Yeah. So I'm just gonna call her Niseragi right now. Right. So Himeragi wants to face Niseragi and just fight her and get back at her for, she attacked her back in the locker room. So she wants to get back at her, and Niseragi tells her, you're the same as you were. You're still the same as you were, like you are in the future. Well, she doesn't exactly say that, but she pretty much says, you're still the same. If you get worked up at all, you just stop listening to people. You just never listen, right? You need to realize that the harder you are, the more easily you'll break, and the more easily you'll break those around you. Which actually kind of goes back to what Himeragi's teacher said a couple episodes ago, where she told her, you focus too much on the present. You need to look towards the future as well, look ahead. All right. And now that I'm thinking about it, she might have said that not because looking towards the future would allow, well, actually thinking ahead would allow her to be able to protect Kojo more, but maybe she meant that in a way where Himeragi is supposed to think of her future and what she really wants, because in the end, that's what this episode is about. You know, Himeragi's future and her trying to accept her feelings. Um, but yeah, she mentions Niseragi mentions that, which it also links back to what her teacher said. Because let's be honest, the harder she is, the more she is obsessing over what's currently going on, and the more she's thinking about the present, the less she's thinking about the future. So it all links together. So that's cool. But right before they can legitimately fight, the dragon shows up, okay? And this dragon was released by freaking Vatler, alright? This dude. Sayaka met up with him, and he felt something weird going on with the dragon veins, the ley lines, so he went to check it out. And he decides, you know what, let me send a familiar down there. So he does it, and he awakens the freaking dragon. It flies out and goes to the school to go get Kojo and do something with him, alright? And it had this loud roar, and everyone heard it. Yaze was going to go do something, but he couldn't because Nagisa and Asagi were there. Natsuki did leave, though. She, disappeared like that. So Natsuki goes after it. And she actually used dimension-controlling magic on the area, but I don't know what that did at all because the dragon was still able to, teleport its tail through dimensions and crap and stab Niseragi. So I don't know what that dimension-controlling magic did, but whatever. It didn't really. I honestly don't know what it did. The dragon was it was going after Kojo to stab him, but Niseragi pushed him out the way and saved him, and she got stabbed instead by the tail. But her sacrifice didn't really end up doing much because it got to Kojo anyway, and it sucked something out of him. I don't know, but it maybe his blood, maybe that's what it was going after. I don't know, but it sucked something out of him. And Kojo was focused more on the dragon. This girl just got stabbed through the stomach. She's dying right in front of him, and it's he didn't even really care that much. He was like, oh man, good thing it wasn't the real Himeragi. I got yo, come on, man. But whatever. The good thing that did come out of that was that he did actually get a little more. He realized he should get more serious because if that could happen to Niseragi, then it could happen to Himeragi at any point too. So I realized that he should get more serious and try harder to protect her because she really legitimately could get hurt. And speaking of her getting hurt, Himeragi actually decides to fight against the dragon since Kojo can't because he's at the school and don't want him to use a familiar at the school. That would just be stupid. So she tries to fight it, but doesn't really end well. She ends up getting the what's that thing called? Schneestrom Wolfen. It's something like that. The Wolfen thing, the lance spear staff thing that she has, the lance, alright? That thing breaks, alright? So she's she has her little, techniques and stuff, but, it's her taijutsu. I forgot what it was, legitimately called, but she has her techniques and things, but that's not going to do much against the freaking dragon, you know? So, she's kind of, helpless now. But luckily, Niseragi revives and summons Asta Arm, alright? And it's a familiar, but it's a weapon too. So I'm pretty sure this is an intelligent weapon, alright? Intelligent weapons like what Beatrice Bastler had back in the whole Angel arc with Canon and Bakura and the pilot dude. They were in Lefolium, they were trapped in the island, you know? Beatrice Bastler had that intelligent weapon. I'm pretty sure Niseragi, Asta Arm, I'm pretty sure that's an intelligent weapon as well. I'm pretty sure. But, yeah, it actually, it looks exactly like another Schneestrom Wolfen. It looks exactly like it. It's just gold instead. She's able to attack the dragon with it. It starts to shape shift to wrap around it, all this stuff, and she's able to chase the dragon away with it. So, yeah, and she mentions that the reason why she's still alive is because she inherited immortality, which again, probably their daughter, just saying. And she also mentions that she chased the dragon to their time. She needs to defeat him. Until she defeats and takes care of it, she can't return. She can't leave. So Kojo wants to ask a lot more questions, who are you? What are you what is going on? Who are you? He has questions to ask her, but he can't get those answers because if she's already revealed a lot about the future, but it's all it's all stuff that isn't really that important. Like, oh, Yaza, guess what? You lose your hair because you use too much hair dye. It's she mentions things, but not important things. But if she starts answering some of the questions that Kojo has, it could legitimately cause a time paradox. Right? We know what happens when you cause time paradoxes. Okay, she'll freaking like get Asagi killed, and then she'll start a world war between like CERN and them and CERN. Well, no, I guess in this case it would be the Lion King organization. That she all her act if she tells too much about the future and she causes a time paradox, it'll cause a war between them, a world war between them and the Lion King organization. Asagi will get herself killed. Kojo will have to choose between having Asagi die and Himeragi die, and he'll have no clue what to do. It's like time paradoxes are not good. So Natsuki should. Oh, by the way, thumbs up to you if you got those references. All right, but Natsuki realizes how bad time paradoxes are, so she shows up and prevents Niseragi from actually saying anything. And she says, "I'll take care of this girl. You focus on the real Himeragi over there." So Natsuki teleports away with her. Himeragi mentions that because because the Wolfen's core was broken, it can't be repaired like it was last time. Right? It's done. There's nothing that she can do for it anymore. So it's done. She can't perform her duties the way she was meant to. So she ends up getting a letter from the Lion King organization telling her to come back to the High God Force, and she's pretty much being relieved of her duties because she can't perform them anymore. She still has those like taijutsu techniques and stuff like that, but I mean, the Wolfen is what really allows her to perform her duties, because without the ability to cancel out magic and supernatural phenomena, how is she supposed to protect Kojo the way she has been before? I mean, think about how important that lance has been in the past, whether it be canceling out Astarte in the first arc, taking out Christoph Gardas, whatever his name was, um, taking out the witches and things like that, canceling out their magic, saving Natsuki. All these moments in the arc where the ability to cancel out magic has been incredibly important. It's like without that, she can't protect Kojo. She can't do her duties, perform her duties the way she's supposed to. So she gets called back, and that's what all that happens in this episode. And I thought that this episode was great. I really did. There was a lot of comedy in there towards the middle, which was enjoyable. But the main purpose of the episode is to make Himeragi think about her future and what it is she wants for her future, which makes her think about her feelings for Kojo and what she really thinks about him. And she starts to think like, do I want our relationship to just stay as observer and the observer and the observed, or do I want more than that? She's forced to think about all of these things and what she really wants. And she's also faced with the threat of losing all of that, being called back to High God Forest. So it's really developing Himeragi's feelings. It's major character development for her. And at the same time, it introduces Niseragi. It gives us hints about what's going to happen in the future of the series. Some people are joking around saying, well, Kojo's a harem lead, so just because he has a kid with one girl doesn't mean he doesn't have a kid with another girl, or it doesn't mean that Asagi's out of the race just yet, or Fulia or Sayaka or any of them. Canon doesn't mean anything yet. So that's kind of funny to think about. But apparently, someone commented on Crunchyroll who reads the light novel saying you'll learn later on that Asagi isn't as out of the race as you think she is. So hey, that's a good thing. I like Asagi. She deserves Kojo more than Himeragi does, because it took Himeragi this long to realize just what she feels about Kojo and actually admit it to herself. Well, not necessarily admit it to herself, because you can't admit something to yourself if you don't even realize in the first place that you feel that way. So I guess this is that first step that Himeragi's trying to take now, and realizing that she likes Kojo. But Asagi realized this like episodes ago. She's known this for the longest time, So Asagi just deserves it more, and with Folia too. Yeah, I thought this episode was great. It's major development for Himeragi. Gives us some hints towards the later portions of the series and the future of the series. Plus, it had some good comedy too. So yeah, the villain is the villain isn't the important part of this arc. It's really not. Who cares about the dragon? Seriously, it's not important. It's just something has to happen in the arc. So that's what they chose, the dragon showing up, and it's a way to get Niseragi in the series. So, it's just a plot device, but it's not that important. It's not major. It's not a big deal. So yeah, I'll give this episode a 9 out of 10. I thought it was great, and yeah, that's it. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time for the series finale.